Alright, what's up guys? Random William here for H2K versus Albus Nox. This is going to be game 2. H2K absolutely stomped Albus Nox in the first game. And we're picking it up in Champion Select right now. We're at 1.5 times speed. So Albus Nox bans out the Sivir, the Olaf, and the Rise. Okay. That's interesting. So they ban out the Olaf to try and ban out Yankos, but Yankos might just go back to the Lee Sin again. I don't really understand that. I can understand banning the Rise against Ryu and the Sivir against Forgiven, since he did very well on the Sivir last time. H2K bans out the Brand, the Poppy, and the Nidalee. Nidalee makes sense on red side. You want to ban that out so they can't first pick it on blue side. Brand makes sense. And the Poppy, I guess they're just really worried about Smurf's Poppy. So, okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'm actually really surprised that they didn't ban out the Jace, because Odo is obviously going to go back to that right away. Caitlyn goes for the first pick for Albus Nox is Caitlyn, and then the first picks for H2K are obviously the Jace and the Zyra, which makes perfect sense. Albus Nox goes for Elise, and they go for Gnar again, so they want to opt into that Gnar versus Jace matchup again. I don't know if I necessarily like that after how badly Smurf got destroyed in that lane. So I guess we'll see if that was a fluke or if that's going to be the tale of this series. Because if you go down 0-2 against H2K, you're kind of screwed. I'm also very curious about why PvP Steos puts such a high priority on the Elise. Like, I mean, you know that Yankos is going to go for the Lee Sin if he's got the option. So there's no reason why you need to pick it so early in the draft phase. H2K, of course, goes for the Lee Sin, and they go for the Lucian. Kind of interesting that they're going to. I'm actually surprised they didn't go for the Jhin. Like, the Jhin is on the table. So yeah, that's interesting that they want to go for Lucian. So that means that they want to. That's interesting. That's very interesting. They go for the Lucian over the Jhin. Albus Nox, last two picks are the Syndra and the Alistar. Ooh, that's actually. Syndra makes sense. Alistar is going to have a difficult laning phase against the Zyra, but he should have, like, better roam potential and a better late game than Zyra. Though Zyra does just an absurd amount of damage. And I mean, you also know that if H2K is going for Zyra, then they're going to want to have somebody who's a little bit tanky in the mid lane, like preferably like a Vladimir. So by picking the Syndra, you just kind of let them be like, okay, automatically default, we're going to go for the Vladimir, so that way we have at least a little bit of tankiness. So I kind of feel like H2K got exactly what they wanted, and Albus Nox really didn't do anything. They really didn't deny anything, and I wouldn't be surprised if this game went a similar fashion, unless Albus Nox makes some very huge changes in how they do the early jungle pathing or how they do the first couple minutes of the game. Yeah, I mean, we've already talked about Gnar versus Jace. It's a pretty even matchup, but it can definitely snowball in Jace's favor, though Gnar definitely has a better late game than Jace does. Elise versus Lee Sin, they're both very high impact junglers in the early game. They both can still have relevance in the late game, Elise with her cocoon, and then Lee Sin with his flash kick. I definitely know that Yankos' Lee Sin is fantastic. I don't know how PvP Steos' Elise is. Mid lane, we already talked about Syndra versus Vladimir and how the Vladimir kind of gains the advantage after, the later the game goes. But the Syndra will always be able to one-shot anyone who's squishy on the enemy team. And then bot lane, we've got the Caitlyn Alistar versus Lucian Zyra. I would say that actually favors the Lucian Zyra. Zyra can just deal a massive amount of damage. Alistar is not very effective until he gets level 6, which doesn't happen until much later in LCS matches because the supports get a lot less experience than you would normally get because they're usually roaming a lot more. And the Lucian can do fine against the Caitlyn if he can. It just really depends on how Caitlyn controls the range in the fight, because the Lucian will outdamage her, but she definitely outranges him. But if like the Zyra lands a root, then the Lucian all-in is very scary. And you can see already The crit's already at half health. So yeah, this is gonna be these are difficult lanes, I think, across the board for Albus Nox. Um, there's no lanes that I see where they have a guaranteed win, which is interesting. I think they put way too much priority on the Caitlyn. There's no reason why that needs to necessarily be first picked. I mean, unless they're really afraid of giving Caitlyn to Forgiven, and Forgiven is a great Caitlyn player, but I don't know. I feel like it's a mistake first picking the Caitlyn. Especially not banning the Jace. Hmm. Pretty even so far. Smart. Good pathing by Kira. Kind of interesting that he was so far to the left side of the lane when he had a ward on the right side of his lane. Typically, you'll see the mid laners will play to the side that they've got a ward on. That was a mistake by Forgiven. No need to step on that trap. And that headshot really hurts. Interesting roam from the crit. Yeah, that was a good thought, right? Kind of roaming, but I mean, if you're gonna do that, you want to have your jungler on the same side of the map as you. So I feel like that they were kind of lacking in their coordination, right? Like that would be a fantastic roam if you sent the support and one other person to the top lane, either the AD carry or the jungler, right? Because those delayed lane swaps can actually be really useful um, if you can surprise the enemy team with them. Good trade back. Oh wow, he forced the flash of the Elise. Okay, that's very interesting, especially considering that Syndra had pushed the Vladimir, so the Syndra had priority to roam faster. That was actually a really risky play by Jankos, but he was able to make it work. Yeah, this is really dangerous. Okay, good TP from Odo. The H2K is going to clean this up. I want to see that on the replay because the reason why that play worked so well is Odo immediately teleported and Smurf did not. So hopefully we can see the replay on that. All right. So this engage, the reason why it doesn't work out well for Albus Nox is because top lane is pushed into the Gnar. So if the Gnar teleports right now, he loses out on a huge wave in top lane. That allows Odoamne to teleport first. So that's the reason why Smurf was so late on his teleport, is because he didn't want to teleport because he had this huge wave pushing into this tower. So that's something that in like solo queue you're not going to be able to anticipate, right? You just go for the play and you know. But at like the professional level, you would expect people to be calling that out. Like you expect Albus Nox to be calling out, "Hey, we're going for this play. We're going for this play," and you would expect Smurf to prevent his lane from getting like this massive wave from getting pushed into his tower, right? You know, if you know that your team is trying to set up a play in the bot lane, you have to keep the wave neutral in the other lane, so that way you can TP if you need to. Yeah, Odo is just absolutely dominating this. Odo is just single handedly carrying H2K right now. This is really impressive from him. So yeah, I mean, Albus Nox, like that was a good idea, right? You rotate your jungler down to bot lane. You have the Syndra roam, but because you didn't prep the top lane correctly, it all blows up in your face. So that just kind of shows you how you can have the right call, but if your execution is sloppy, you're screwed. That was actually a really good ult by Forgiven. If he didn't land that ult, then Vander was dead. Like dead, dead, dead. But because he landed that ult on Miracle, that forced Miracle to keep his distance, which allowed Vander to escape. That actually might be a kill. Wow, well done. That's really well done by Vander to survive that. I mean, that's the disadvantage of playing a Zyra. She is really freaking squishy, right? She does a lot of damage. She hurts, but if you all in her, um, she does not have any health. And because she's a support, she's frequently, behind in experience, behind in levels, behind in gold. So it becomes much more difficult for her to survive an all-in play like that. That's an easy kill from Yankos. And then the TP cancel from Smurf, that completely destroys any chances that they have at setting up another play. So that TP, uh, that was a huge mistake from Smurf again. So Smurf is really costing Albus Nox a lot of these. Is really costing Albus Nox the game right now. Yeah, this is yet another snowball out of control. Yeah, I can hear the commentator saying this is getting hard to watch. Like, yeah, it is getting hard to watch. I mean, it's just absolute domination, just mistake after mistake after mistake from Albus Nox. They don't look like the team that played in group stage, right? They're playing like. So when I was watching the international wildcard uh, tournament, the qualifier, this is what Albus Nox looked like in the qualifier. They looked like they were very talented players, like easily challenger level players, but the communication, the macro play, the rotations, the way they set up their plays was not on par with other LCS teams. When I was watching Albus Nox, when I was watching INTZ play in the regional qualifier, or actually the international wildcard qualifier, they looked like they were low LCS or high challenger level teams, which is why I was so surprised when Albus Nox, was showing such great macro play in the group stage. But whatever magic they had, whatever I don't know what they did, but they lost it. They look like they did, a couple months ago. They looks like they've regressed in their time off. So that's really disappointing because I was really excited to see Albus Nox play, to see an international wildcard team do really well. And I'm actually kind of worried that because they're doing so poorly against H2K, that people are going to forget all the great things they did in the group stage, right? Because this was a very important year for the wildcard teams. So like you can't overstate how great it is for esports that a wildcard team made it out of the group stage, right? And they made it out of a group stage where they really were given no shot whatsoever. They got out of a group stage where they had G2 in their group and they had CLG in their group, which both were definitely worthy teams to get that number 2 seed, and Albus Nox stole it away from them. So yeah, it's unfortunate. So yeah, I hope you guys, if you guys are watching this, that you don't forget all the great things that Albus Nox did in the group stage and all the great, things that they did for just international teams in general. Just because of this series, because this is obviously a very bad series. They got tilted after the first game, and now they're not playing like they did during the group stage. So I have a feeling this game is pretty much over. H2K is already up 10,000 gold, and we're not even at 20 minutes. This is definitely another stomp. So now H2K is just going to play safe, slowly push up vision, wait for Albus Nox to make a mistake, capitalize on it, pick up some more towers, or pick up the Baron. You can see they've already got multiple pink wards all throughout the river around Baron, and that pretty much denies all vision from Albus Nox. Oh, this is a good play. Good play. I actually think Odo might have been able to get that bot tower if he had kept pushing. Yeah, they layered all of their CC very well. And actually, definitely was a mistake from Odo to use his TP and cancel. If he had instead just accepted that Yankos was going to die and he just kept pushing, he probably could have gotten that tower. So now this is a very precarious situation for H2K, even though they're very far ahead. You can see why they're trying to sneak this Baron right now, and the reason why they're trying to do that is because H2K doesn't have teleport advantage. Well done. So the reason why H2K did that is because since Smurf had teleport advantage over Odo, that allows Albus Nox to kind of push into the Baron pit and kind of clear out that vision. And if HK tries to contest, then Smurf can teleport and Odo cannot. But because they were able to secure the Baron, because they were able to sneak it, they will be at least be able to get all the inner towers. They might be able to get an inhib. That's very risky, but he's able to pull it off. Yep, perfectly executed 4-1. Jesus, that's so much damage. That's the game right there. That's going to be it. Yep, another snowball game by H2K. H2K is looking really good. They actually looked a lot cleaner this game than game one. I think their coach probably talked to them during the break and was like, "What the hell were you guys doing? Like, you guys made so many mistakes in the mid and late game." So much cleaner game from H2K in game two. That's what I want to see. They're making changes and they're improving as the series goes on, and they're making things really difficult on Albus Nox. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you like the content on the channel, please subscribe. Leave a comment if you'd like. I'd be happy to have a discussion with you guys. I hope you all have a great day. This is Randmonium signing off.